Hey, how are you doing, boys and girls? Welcome back to some more Grayzone Warfare. And today we're bringing in a popular series that was done well back when Grayzone Warfare first came out. And I wanted to do it again for Night Ops. And that is Secrets You May Not Know, a compilation of loads of different hints, tips, quick things which you may have not known about, which you can now implement in Grayzone Warfare. There's a many new mechanics in Night Ops, and so I wanted to implement some of these in here, bring back some of the older ones which you may have not seen from previous videos, and also some ones which even the veterans may not know in terms of things like the pip system with the scope and how to actually have the same FPS when you zoom in. Cover quite a few things in there. Enjoy. Let's get straight into it. Did you know that AI now seem to carry money with them? Quite a lot of them do, and it can range from really low to quite high. They can also contain high value items like kind of pocket watches and things like that. But did you know, instead of always having to just drag the money into your thing, if you already got some money in your container, even if you haven't opened the actual places up, even if you just literally go to the body, go like this, right click on the money you already have in you and just click top up, you can take that money away from the body straight off the bat. You can also do this with ammo. Say, for example, you are using this ammo, right? So we'll put some of this ammo here. We've only got 30 on it, right? We come over to them and then click top up. We now get the 60. We take the other ammo away from them. It can just be really handy if you're just trying to loot through bodies really fast. If you know what you're looking for, you can quickly just right click on something you already have on you and top up, and it'll take it from them. Here's an example of finding some of the valuable loot on the bodies. So if we go here, we can now find a CC card from him. Again, can be really handy, and they can all add up. Now, you may know that the durability has been added to this game. This is something that was advertised. But the durability with armor is quite substantial. You'll notice it as a negative for yourself, that it's going to go down if you get shot, which it should do, right? But what is also good is even if you're using low tier ammo, you're going to be able to lower that durability on the armor of that player or AI, that you'll end up killing them anyway, even with lower tier ammo. So if you haven't progressed as much as someone else, or you're just trying to run like a cheap build, it still can be effective even if you spray them or go for like obviously a headshot. You'll still be able to get those kills with that lower tier ammo. Also, did you know when it comes to night vision, I see this actually from other creators who are having issues with night vision and it running out in terms of durability, that this will only get affected, the durability of night vision will only get affected if it keeps on the helmet at all times. So I would 100% advise grabbing the night vision and popping it in your secure container. It won't lose durability there even if you die, because that is one of the kind of patterns I see when it comes to weapons. The durability with weapons doesn't seem to change too much, if not hardly at all, until you die. So you lose about 10% durability each time you die, and then it starts to go down. But with the night vision, this won't be the case. If you put it in the actual cast container, if you die, doesn't matter. It's nice and safe, and then you can just pop it on your helmet when you need it at times, you know, when it's nighttime or in certain really dark situations. But if not, you can just drag it, and I like to put the night vision in my secure container because they are pretty expensive. Did you know there is now a faction chat? When you press escape and go to your messages, there's now a faction chat here. This is really helpful because you can use it for multiple things, from asking for help for people who are in the game at the minute. If you're in the proximity of someone who is around, you may be able to ask for help for them. You can also do things like, for example, I've been trying to get into this mission for ages. This is the one where you have to open up the attic in the hotel here, right, or the restaurant. And I haven't been able to find the key for a little while, but I've just managed to find it. So instead, now what I'm going to do is go over to the messages, go into faction chat, and just say, attic open if you need the mission complete in starting area. You can pop that there, and anyone who is looking for the attic key can now see this and be able to react to it if they need to, or complete it. Can come in really, really handy. You can also use this for other things like letting people know if there's extract campers, for example, people or from an enemy faction nearby in a POI. Loads of little things you can use to, help your faction out and let them know of danger or helping them with missions. Did you know there is now a donations box in the game? And this has been something which is huge. And because a lot of people like to share things in this game, maybe you find some spare keys or don't need some armor or you want to give something away to people. You can now use this donation box and donate it in here. So you can see here, we're actually looking. Someone's donated the dot key. There's 2 dot keys in here already. If you're looking for the dot key, someone could possibly go and grab this and take it for themselves. I already have it, so I don't need it. But yeah, I would always check the donations box every single time you come back from a visit, just in case there's a key you may need, or donate a key or a gun or something which you don't need anymore. Just something really, really handy and a nice little quality of life thing. And then you can use the donation box on top of the thing we was talking about beforehand, which is the faction chat. And you could post in the faction chat, dot key in donation box if someone needs it, right? And it's just going to help, again, your faction, your mates, get along and get to certain things faster. And yeah, just a really, really nice quality of life thing. Did you know there is now valuable loot around the place? For example, I just came in here and found this gold necklace on this table. And you can sell these for pretty good profit over at the vendors. This place in particular, the town hall, has now been opened up. And all of this actually has some really nice stuff. So we're going to have a little look. Also, bear in mind now, this body here is for one of the missing bodies you have to find at the start of the game. If you're looking for the missing body, which is normally around this area, it is now in the town hall. Just a quick tidbit. For anyone who has completed the game before and is struggling to find that body, it's been moved. Now, in here, the town hall has been opened up. You couldn't go in here before, and it's really awesome because there's a lot of things in here which have been added to the game. Now, there is sometimes an AI in here. It does look like it hasn't been looted. Sometimes there is now AI in this game, which will be in houses. Just be careful of that when you go around in some of these houses, that there could be AI just chilling in the rooms. It's caught me out a few times. But if you can look here, for example, we just found this. I've never found one of these before, and every single time I find something different. But what the hell is this? You can see here. I'd love to see how much this is, and I'll show you when we get back into back to base. Here's the value of the loot we found. Just going to that one location, and it's earned us an extra 600 to 700 quid, which is pretty good. So just look out for these high value items. Definitely worth picking up if you find them and selling them just to make some extra money. Did you know sometimes removing the rare sight can help you have a better field of view when aiming down your sight? For example, the MP5, I like to use the iron sights. Quite like using the iron sights in a lot of guns, but sometimes they're not just that great and they kind of block quite a lot of your view. For example, this kind of blocks some of the view if you're trying to aim and follow someone. It's not the best looking one. It's okay, but it's not the best. If you now go over and inspect your gun, look at the MP5 rare. This is the big thing in the way, which is annoying me. I could just take this off. Look at the view now. A lot more easier. And it was also still accurate. Shoots exactly, I hold my breath, where I want it to go. Just on the tip of this gun here, right? Perfect. And I can now see a lot more. And obviously I'm not going to be completely accurate with an MP5 anyway. It's just going to be to like spray at people when I'm going along, you know. I can just see a lot more clearer like this. There's something that you can use. Did you know how to activate your laser? Maybe you've just bought a laser and you're pressing T and it's not turning on. The first thing you want to do is actually choose the mode for the laser. Some lasers have more than one mode. And to do that, you hold down T. It's going to bring this. Now, you can notice at the minute it has a red laser. If I press it again, it now goes to IR, which is saying infrared. If I press it again, it now turns it completely off, right? So this is how it is default when it's off. And if I press T, nothing happens. It says no tactical mode is selected. If I hold T and press T one more time, we can now see the red laser come on. If I come off this now, press T, it now makes the laser come off and on. Again, if you check again and you see one going IR, you may be thinking, well, it's not working. I can't see anything. That's because it's infrared. And it is actually on at the minute, but it only works at nighttime when you're using your night vision. And it doesn't have to be if you nighttime. It just means you have to use your night vision to see it. If you now put our night vision goggles on, you can see that is actually a laser there, and I can toggle it on and off. Just something really, really handy, especially if you're PvPing and you know there's someone about at night and you want to try and catch them off guard. Maybe put your laser to infrared, put your night vision on, and you can then catch them off. They're not going to see the lasers unless they have night vision themselves. But it's just going to make it a little bit more stealthy for you when you're going along. This is a 2-in-1, but did you know that, well, firstly, we now have a canted system in the game, which you can attach a laser and a scope. This is really handy if you want a gun which can control longer ranges, like if you're using the zoom scopes here, so for longer ranges and zooming in, but then you may need to then switch to canted and then use this laser sight to take out anything which is close quarters. This can be a really, really nice little combo where you have a scope for the long ranges and then use a canted for the closer ranges. Really, really, really handy. But also, did you know that you can combine keys? Now, if we go down to the canted keybind, it's just under aim. Now, the default is the thumb mouse button, which I do like. It is quite handy. But I also like to have another one where if you hold down right mouse button and then you just press shift at the same time, it will switch between them. It's a really easy key to be on because you're going to be running about most of the time, if not. So you normally have your little finger on the key, and when you're just strafing and you wanted to switch between, it's a really easy key to just press tap shift when you're kind of going along. Now, this may end up making you run, but I'm just giving you a kind of example of how you can do key combinations in this game. You don't just only have to use one specific key. You could have two keys at once or something and something else to activate a keybind. So if it's something you use a lot, you can actually have add something to activate that keybind. It could be really, really handy. Now, talking about keybinds, something I always get asked so much when it comes to night ops, and yes, you can now do toggle lean. If you go over now to your settings, controls, and go to your lean, I can confirm that, where are we looking at? Can confirm that you can now toggle lean for Q&E. It's something I always see so much. You can now do that. If you've been playing Brazen Warfare beforehand and you had it already installed, you may have some issues with keybinds. So if you go over to your settings, controls, I would 100% reset to default and then check through your keybinds and change specific things. Because, for example, and this is something also for new players, did you know you can change your reticle, right? Now, the old way was using Alt and scroll when you aim down sight, and you could change your reticle on certain guns. But with the change to the keybinds, that was no longer the case, and I had to end up going to the controls and actually looking at what it was and changing it back to how I wanted it beforehand. Just something to take note when you're in the game. If you're trying to like change a reticle and you used to know how to do it before, it's not working, check your keybinds. And it's going to be for a few things which may come into effect with the new Brazen Warfare Night Ops. This is one for the Brazen Warfare veterans who may not know about this when they come into Night Ops and are trying to grind to get gunny level 2, which a lot of us always try and do when we're starting out on Brazen Warfare, is try to get gunny level 2 because of the M855 ammo and the M4s being really, really effective. But in Night Ops, they have switched this up. You can now go to gunny level 2. M855 is no longer available to purchase, and the highest price ammo is $4 for FMJ. They are trying to mix this up and make sure that M4s are not the only thing going to be used now in Brazen Warfare. There's a lot more weapon diversity in the game, and I've seen it a lot with other players. And also the AI have different hits and things now. Also, one also positive to this is looking down here. Look what we can see. The Razor 1 to 6 times scope is now purchasable at level 2 gunny. This is huge. You can now purchase this along with obviously the mount, the 30mm low and the 30mm ring here. So you can purchase this and attach yourself a long range scope to any of your favorite guns at level 2 gunny. So still worthwhile getting him up to level 2, but not for the reasons of getting an M4. From what I've been told, and this is not concrete, apparently M855A1 ammo is worth $10 if you get to level 3 on gunny. And so again, they are trying to vary the weapon diversity in Brazen Wolf and Night Ops, which I'm all for. Did you know that the game will tell you what you can use for parts for your guns? And you don't have to be a gun expert to build in this game. You can actually quite easily work things out just by doing this simple trick. For example, if you've got a gun like the M4, this is a basic M4 which hasn't really been decked out or hasn't got a scope on it, or maybe I want to upgrade it in some type of way. If you just right click on it and go to inspect, and then use your scroll to go down, you'll see that anything which can be used on this gun is going to be highlighted in yellow. So I can go through here and upgrade certain things to this gun using certain parts to here. And a good rule of thumb is if the part is more expensive than the part than the other version, say for example these are 2 muzzles here, good chances are that that one is going to be a better muzzle than the other one. Not all the time, I'm not going to say it all the time, and you'll learn which ones are better, and if you expect them you can look at the stats, but it gives you a little idea of what's going on. So for example, I may want to upgrade the grip. If I look over here and look at the grip, this one is an A2 grip, which is that one there, which is the cheapest one. But I may want to go for this one, the more grip, and upgrade it. It just gives you some update kind of information, really easy to help you build a gun and work out what is your perfect build for your gun. Did you know in Brazen Warfare there is now like an auto sort in your backpack? If you're like me and don't really like to spend too much time in here, now I am very OCD friendly and I most probably will end up organized as how I would like it myself. But if you're not too bothered about how the stash actually looks and you just want to compact it so you can keep on getting space, there is now a packed items feature here. And all you have to do is click it and it's going to just compact everything back in so there's no slots kind of like, you know, free until you get down to the bottom here, and then we've got more spots free. Really, really handy. I do hope they improve on this feature and have it so maybe, for example, you have like guns, then ammo, then armor, then backpacks, and meds, and ammo. Things like that, for example. I'd love if you can really organize how you would sort it. But for now, it is a lot better in terms of at least packing the items and compressing them so you can get the maximum amount of space possible in your bag. On top of that, you can also change the category here and it will highlight everything in that category. For example, maybe I'm looking for a specific part to add to my gun, which I know I got on my space, but because my dad eyes can't see them and I'm blind as a bat, I may be trying to look for them. So instead, I can actually now go and click on gear parts and it's going to blank everything out and darken it. And anything which is a gear part is now going to highlight. So I can kind of like pack an item and just like scroll down so I see what I need. I go, oh yeah, I need this. Yeah, cool. Or maybe I need some guns, right? Now it's just going to highlight the guns instead. Or maybe I need some armor. Going to highlight the armor. Really, really handy little feature just to kind of sort through your stash, which you are packing up if you need to find something in a pinch. Did you know with the day and night cycle in Brazen Warfare, how exactly long it takes? I get this question asked a lot on stream, so I thought I'd mention it in this video. Brazen Warfare's full 24 hours in-game is 3 hours for you guys, okay? So there's going to be 2 hours where it's going to be basically daytime, 1 hour where it's going to be nighttime. Just take note of that because there's going to be missions where it's going to ask you to do certain things in either day or night time. For example, this one is asking me to do it at 2200 or 5 in the morning. Now, that's not going to help me because it's now 7 in the morning, but what you can do is exit and go and find another server because every single region is actually a little bit different. So we was in EU West and it's 7 in the morning for us. But if we now go over to US West, it is now 2200 and that would be the perfect place, or even EU East, the perfect time for us to complete that mission. So you're not going to be held in, you know, doing your missions if you have to wait. Just switch your servers and you can find another one which may be at a different time than you currently are. This is what I've talked about before in a previous Did You Know video, but I think it's an important one to know, people who are wanting to use cover to their advantage. Did you know when you press crouch, it goes down to a really low crouch, and that is your default crouch, and sometimes you can't see over specific cover. And if I press C again, I'm revealing too much of maybe this AI here. If he was an enemy, right, he'd be able to shoot me quite easy. But did you know you can actually, if you press control, all right, left control, and then scroll upwards, he will actually change his stance slightly. And I can also aim down sight when I'm doing this, and I can now get a really cheeky kind of like head glitch on this area, which is going to reveal less of my body and make it easier to get the shots, while making it harder for them to get the shots. It's also going to be especially better for you in terms of PvP. If you're holding an angle and you know someone's coming, instead of revealing yourself as much, use this method to hold an angle. It's something to take note. If you press C again, it will then reset this back to the default, which is the lowest crouch. Just something to take note. So you may see that my graphics look absolutely horrendous at the minute. And the reason for this is because I want to showcase something. If you go to settings, graphics, and we're on DLSS with ultra performance. Now, if you like using the scope, the zoom scopes, there's a reason why they tax your performance so much. And this is something I noticed when I've been doing benchmarking and taking screenshots and mucking around with things for the graphic settings update video I want to put out. And if you can see here, look at how horrible the grass is. It's because at the minute when you use DLSS, it's downscaling the 3D resolution to 33% of my 1440p native resolution. So it's making the game look very, very low resolution and trying to upscale it, but it's not going to do the best job. Now, when I use the scope, just take note of obviously the frames, which is at the top. That's 170 frames we're getting at the minute with this super ultra performance. Both scope in gets rid of that. Look at the grass. It looks better and it makes the game look really, really nice. Why is that? And you've also noticed that when I'm scoped in, I've lost about 50 frames. So why is this happening? It's because when you scope in, it will put you at 100% resolution. Now, this can be looked at in two ways. If you are wanting performance, for example, and you are a PvP player, you can obviously put it to something like balanced, right? Which looks okay. It's okay when you're just running about. It is a little bit blurry, but when it gets to things where you are wanting to actually see the density of the bushes, see the detail of the bushes, if you're using a scope and you zoom in, you're going to get 100% of your resolution back, and you'll be able to see finer details, maybe people hiding in bushes, things like that. Or if you're trying to clear out a POI in joint operations, you're going to be able to see a lot more detail when you scope in. If you're fine with taking the performance hit, that's great. One thing I noticed though when switching between presets is if you can afford it and you've got more of a beefier PC, there is something you can do about this. Now, you can turn off DLSS and go to TSR. You can still use frame generation, but there is a negative to doing this. I'm going to turn it off and talk about this in a minute. But if you use TSR and you scroll up and make sure your 3D resolution is at 100%. Now, we've gone down to 70 frames in here, but everything I see now is 100% resolution, and it's not affected by any type of super resolution downscaling or anything along those lines. This is just 100% resolution 1440p, which is what the scope uses. Now, if I zoom in now, I get no frame loss. It's the exact same frames as I was using beforehand, right? So you can have a consistent time with the scope feeling always the same no matter what. that is just something for the people who may want to use TSR and keep that kind of same performance going all the time. Just something I've noticed, maybe something hopefully they can fix with the scopes. It isn't maybe necessarily the pip system which is doing this, where if you zoom in, it doesn't change the outskirts of the zoom. It keeps this, the same. I think it's to do with this 3D resolution, and I only managed to discover this when updating my graphics settings guide, doing a lot more testing and benchmarking. I found this out. So just something to take note. I am personally still going to be running DLSS, and I'm going to be running DLAA with frame generation on, just because it still gives me the 100% resolution. I still get pretty decent frames. It feels really nice. It looks nice and clear. And when I use a scope, it isn't too bad. When I get the frame drops, I do lose a little bit, but because I am still running 100% resolution, it isn't as bad as some of the other ones. So it's not too bad, and I can kind of put up with that. Did you know you can now turn on light switches in this game? It's something I've added with the night ops, because it's going to be handy to try and search things. If it's like darker, you can turn the lights on and actually have a little look about. But also, did you know you can also cut the power to these lights? So say, for example, there is actual power to it already, and maybe there's someone inside and they are camping somewhere, you don't know where they are, and you want to freak them out. You can actually go to these power boxes here, these breaker boxes, and click on open, and then click use. So we've got close and use. I'm going to scroll down to use. That'll turn off the lights. Little really handy and quality of life thing. Really, really cool. It's these little extra things they add into the game, which some people just may not notice, and I just think they're really awesome. Did you know that you can make the sound of helicopters a lot quieter now in the update for Grey Zone Warfare? Just by pressing the letter 0. As long as you have a headset on, like the Razer headset, for example, you can turn on the noise cancelling, and it can be really, really handy, and it can just kind of deafen that really annoying sound. Again, if you press 0, you can then turn it off, and that's how it sounds normally. Press 0 again, that's how it sounds without. It can just be really, really handy when you're traveling along back and forth. If you're at base, you can just kind of mute that sound a bit and not make it as bad. Did you know that the skull mask, and the only reason we got the skull mask is because an awesome guy in the main Discord called Full Meat DG requested it every single day, up to 104 days of requesting the skull mask. Big shout out to Full Meat DG for making this mask happen. Awesome legend. And now we've got this cool skull mask because of him.